Picture this. It's Saturday morning, way before the sun is up. A guy in his mid-50s walks out to his garage, coffee in hand. He's not going for a run, he's not catching a flight. He just stands there, looking at a 1964 Ford Galaxy that hasn't run in weeks. Now, his wife, she thinks it's just a phase. His buddies at work, they joke it's a midlife crisis. But what if? What if they're all missing the point entirely?
Okay, let's really get into this. Because what's happening in that garage isn't an escape at all. It's a return. See, there's this fascinating psychological story unfolding in garages just like that one all over the world. And trust me, once you understand it, you will never look at a resting classic in someone's driveway the same way again. So the first thing we really have to get our heads around is this. Old cars are so much more than just old cars. In a world that is just constantly changing, updating, and moving on, they represent something incredibly rare. They represent permanence. They are, in a very real sense, anchors in time. I mean, just look at the contrast here. Our modern lives are built on stuff that's disposable, things that get a software update every other week. But deep down, I think we all have this psychological craving for things that last, something that isn't going to be obsolete next year. And a classic car, well, it delivers on that need in a way you can literally touch. This all taps into a really powerful concept that psychologists call continuity of self. It's basically that gut feeling that you are the same person today that you were 10, 20, even 30 years ago. And in a world that's always telling you to upgrade and change, an old car becomes this physical touchstone that holds your memories. And not just yours, but the memory of an entire era. And this isn't just some fuzzy feeling either. There's real science behind this. Studies have shown that when we interact with objects from our formative years, our youth, our brain's reward pathways light up in the exact same way they would if we ran into a close friend we hadn't seen in years. So for someone who fell in love with a muscle car when they were 16, that vehicle is, well, it's neurologically woven right into their identity. Okay, so let's build on that idea, because this next part is huge. This is not about being stuck in the past. It's actually about using the past to make sense of the present and to build a better future. For decades, we were all told that nostalgia was unhealthy, right? It was seen as a sign that you couldn't cope with the present. But modern research has completely flipped that idea on its head. It turns out that a healthy, conscious nostalgia, like, say, restoring an old car, actually increases our sense of meaning in life, it boosts our optimism, and it can even strengthen our social bonds. It makes us feel more grounded, not less. So when someone spends a whole weekend hunting down an original part for their '68 Mustang, their brain is doing something incredibly profound. It's weaving together who they were, who they are, and who they want to be, all into one single coherent story. The car itself isn't the story, you see. It's the thread that holds the whole thing together. This leads us right into the mind of the enthusiast. What is it that draws someone to this world in the first place? It's so much more than just a love for cars. It's a whole different way of seeing the world. It's a story written in steel. Psychologically, these folks often share a really distinct set of traits. They aren't just collectors who want to show stuff off. No, these are people who need to understand things from the inside out. They'll spend months learning exactly how a carburetor works, not because they have to, but because not knowing would feel, well, just deeply unsatisfying. They're independent thinkers who look at our throwaway culture and quietly, stubbornly just disagree. This quote, it just perfectly captures the story of a man named Rye from outside Cleveland. He's owned the same 1957 Bel Air for 31 years. So when someone offered him this huge amount of money for it, he just laughed. The person making the offer just didn't get it. They thought they were buying metal and chrome. Rye knew they were asking for a chapter of his life. For people like Rye, that car is more than an object. It's evidence. In a culture where pretty much everything is designed to be replaced in 18 months, an object that was built to last feels almost sacred. It's a testament to the idea that some things are really worth preserving. And a deep personal connection like this, it never exists in a vacuum. It naturally pulls people together, and it forms something much more than a hobby. It becomes the foundation for a community, a modern-day tribe. Seriously, just walk into any vintage car show and you'll see it instantly. You'll see a retired firefighter, a young software developer, a grandmother from a small town, all talking with the ease of old friends. The car is the reason they showed up, sure, but the real connection is this shared set of values, a belief in what deserves to exist in the world. So, beyond all the social and emotional benefits, there's also this powerful cognitive payoff. Something really specific and important happens to our brains when we work on these old machines with our hands. Neuroscientists actually have a term for it. They call it embodied problem solving. And it's an incredibly rich activity that engages a whole network of brain regions all at once, from spatial reasoning and sensory processing all the way to long-term memory and even emotional regulation. It is a profoundly satisfying, full brain workout. And let's be honest, in our modern world, this feeling is rare. For anyone who spends their days just moving abstract information around on a screen, an afternoon spent working on a tangible 60-year-old engine can feel like coming up for air. It's real, you can touch it, and when it works, you know it works. So when you start putting all of these pieces together, you see a much, much bigger picture start to emerge. This isn't about some weird eccentricity or about being stuck in the past. It's about meeting some of the deepest, most fundamental needs we have as human beings. The crucial thing to see here is that these people, they found this an extraordinarily effective way to build a continuous story for themselves, to find real meaning, to develop tangible competence, to connect with an authentic community, and maybe most importantly of all, to believe that some things are truly, truly worth saving. It kind of makes you ask a bigger question, doesn't it? When you look at an old, neglected machine covered in rust, you're almost forced to look at yourself and wonder, what parts of me are worth the effort of bringing back to life? You know, every enthusiast knows that one sacred moment. It's when an engine that has been completely silent for decades finally sputters, coughs, and then turns over. The people in that garage, they don't cheer. They go quiet because they know exactly what that sound means. It means that nothing that was ever truly worth keeping is ever really gone for good. If this story resonated with you, if you saw a little piece of yourself in that garage, please do us a huge favor and like this explainer, and definitely subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the psychology behind the things we love. And finally, we really want to know what you think. It doesn't have to be a car. It can be a craft, a collection, anything at all. Every passion tells a story. So what story does your soul tell? Let us know in the comments below. We'd love to read it.